light, Moya, bright. Welcome to another exciting episode of Moya, guys. Thank you so much for all your contributions. Thank you so much for all your support, your love. The channel is growing. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. Please do like, share, and subscribe, and let everybody know about this podcast. So, as you know, we like to create safe spaces on Moya for us to just get into the elements of ourselves that we are not sure about, the dark areas, the shadows, the things that hurt. And we thought today, let's go into childhood trauma and how it affects us as adults. And I've got one of our favorite teachers, as usual, GOGO Thulisa.
Hi.
you know, your people are my people.
Yeah.
Moya, siyabulela kakhulu for coming through.
Hi, here's the Moya rising. It's the grand Moya rising today. Yeah.
So we're here, we're talking about grief, you know, and well, not grief, just trauma, and how the things we go through as young people, how they can play out in our later lives, and how they can wreak havoc, or you know, the habits we create. So let's start there. Yeah.
It's a big one. It's an elephant that we have to pick at piece by piece. This one, there's no easy way about it. So I don't even know where to start. I mean, if I look at some of the people that I speak to on a daily basis, right, I will now at times find that a couple, for instance, are walking in, and it's somebody who was hell-bent, like, I am going to do it, I am going to do better than my own parents, I'm going to, you know, carry on from where they picked up, and yay, I'm running that marathon. And things just don't connect somehow, you know. It should either be the guy is saying, I don't understand, my wife keeps leaving, or she, right? Things are just not, things are in shambles with my children, what's going on? Or, you know, stuff. What the hell is going on? And what I've come to learn is that not only do we have physical DNA, we've got spiritual DNA. So the heavy load at times is finding out that the things you are experiencing or that I'm experiencing, this is what our grandmothers went through, this is what our aunties went through, the generation before you, possibly what Oma went through, but we have never had this culture in our families. And I'll break the ice and say, and because of apartheid, because of apartheid, you know, who was there? In some of our homes, you know, we had to almost self-parent at a young age because we are schooling abazali abekho basemsebenzini. Yaphuma country, we must fix. You're being traumatized. I remember asking a teacher at school the question. It was 1994, March. What you go ask your bloody Mandela Gaffer. Then I knew that, wow, I'm a Gaffer child. Nothing I ever do in this institution is going to be good enough. I was an art student. Just because my paintings are Afrocentric, I'm not going to get an A. Just because when they ask me to talk about my hero and my speech is about Malcolm X in that school, I'm not getting the top marks, not because I'm saying wrong, I'm doing wrong, but hey, I'm also, not where I'm coming now, but ganging a coming. You know, I had those habits. It was, I remember it was standard 5, grade 7 now, culture day. Kids get creative. Up comes Uthuli. By and all. I mean, I'm laughing now because of how I'm sure they must have been shaking because it's 1992. It's not like now where we can like openly go out and embrace culture. So I realized I'm never gonna be liked up in these streets. They're not gonna like me. But it is very, very traumatic. It is traumatic. You can't wear your own hair. It's a body part. This is a body part. Imagine being told that your fingers are deformed or something when they're not. This is who we are. So that's trauma, and I'm unpacking it in this way because in a lot of situations we don't even see that as trauma. We normalized it. Someone else is gonna come and say, "I'm not Ntsiki, we went through this thing. Just lashing out and projecting crazy emotions all over the place. Right. No, it's not. I can't use ayeka because those are some of the root seeds of trauma. If we can't go back and say, hey, every time you do this way, stop this behavior. Stop telling Abnona that they must go ask their bloody Mandela or ancestors when they are asking questions in a classroom. Stop telling us that our body parts are lesser than who the hell are you? God made this. You know what I mean? Like something I cannot say, but you kind of want to go and say you. That's when that happens. You know, because what do you do? So we are being traumatized from birth. Just by being a black woman, you know, oh, it's coming. I fear for mothers giving birth to black girls because I'm like, where do you start? Like, Mama, why are you telling me I must be careful on the street when my other race friends don't have to? Because in all my years, every single story that I've come across of girls that have been sexually assaulted or abused and stuff, I keep hearing these stories coming in from black families in this country. I could be wrong, but the impression I have in my mind is that some of the things that are going on in our homes and our offices and things as Undomnyama are a different reality to Abanyabantu. They really, really, really are. And it's intergenerational. This country's been violent for 400 years. Do we remember how to be at peace? Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't. When we dream of our ancestors, we are dreaming of people who are fighting in their time. Something happens to you, they're already like, hey, because that's who they were in their lives, right? So if Umakulu lived in that mode of adrenaline pumping, she might also be driving you to live in that state because she normalized it.
So it's actually encoded.
It's encoded in your DNA by now, 400 years later. And they might be looking at you going, and you're thinking, no, I'm being Rafiki right now. This is my peace and serenity. And even they are not understanding. So we need to be careful. We need to be, Ukoko Obrimachikli was here one time and he said we need to be very, very careful about the way that we want to venerate people such that we inherit even the negative stuff. and we emulate the negative stuff. Of course, if Utata was my hero, I'm gonna behave like Nodada. If Umama was my hero, I'm gonna behave like this person. How dare you tell me different? And that's how that's how we become defensive. I've seen it in me, for instance, where I'm like, hey, I am definitely
under attack.
I am definitely under attack, and I come from a long line of Abafaz, Abafri, hey. So don't tell me to act different, because now you're insulting my DNA.
You know, then how are we going to heal all these spirits?
It starts like I said, it's a big elephant. It starts now with us conscientizing ourselves. I don't think a lot of us even know what the definition of trauma is. Let's start there. If you can't identify trauma, how do you heal it? As I was saying, this is normalizing, like just either projecting or yelling at people or anyhow and things like that, including trauma responses. Are you able to catch yourself in the middle of a trauma response or not? Yeah? Many times I've caught myself after, and I'm like, woo! Was that me? Is that what I look like when I've been touched in my studio? Wow. Right? But as much as we say, yo, the things we do. Anyway, let me not get into a first about me and just, and look at it and say, but where it might have been the previous generation's way, but it actually is, it's not okay. And once you're able to pick those things up, you start improving, and you're not going to get it right the first time around. It takes several trials and errors, because now I caught myself. I mean, I went through a phase where I was the angry black woman, and it became my identity. And I would put pen on paper to write anything in a poem. Even who made me angry. Boy, yay! Do you know where people are like, before you because it doesn't turn upside down, And because that became a part of my identity, finding the newer, peaceful, humorous self, which is not really finding a new self, because I've always been that. As a kid, I was always that one.
So how does one get to that? Because we are speaking to a collective of people and who are traumatized in different ways. So let's speak to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking to everybody.
Yes.
Your most authentic self is who you were as a child. Who were you at age 5, at age 6, at age 7? You see, that's where you probably were your most authentic self. And anything that you changed from that stage, you now went into school and you were taught against it. Stop talking too much, it's a bad habit. At age 7, let me tell you, I was an artist and I knew it. I started writing at age 4, so I knew. We had the writer, we had the sketch artist, we had the creativity pumping. And my family will tell you some of the most hilarious things that I would say at that age. My humor, everything that you see in this version of me, this is exactly who I was at age 6. Therefore, everything in between that was not this was a trauma response. That angry woman was a trauma response to something. And let us please not judge trauma responses.
Yes.
Because if I clap you, it hurts. And if I clap you and you hurt and it triggers, and I still have a messed up attitude about that, please, when you turn around, or when there's something in response to that, I need to understand that the impact because in your natural state, no. Go and check what the root cause of that thing was at any given time. At any given time, someone is behaving out of alignment, which is where it helps to get to know people and connect. Because if you really get to know me and who I am, the day something is off, you'll sense it immediately. You'll be like, and something must.
But not everybody's gonna know you when you in this big world.
It's not for everyone to know you.
Yeah, so
it's
then
about safe spaces. It's about safe spaces. So even if your safe space is that one person, that one friend, or that one neighbor, or that one teacher at school, because when everyone have a lot of things going on and they have no one to talk to, with the teacher is the only person. Hold on to your safe spaces. I cannot tell you how far that takes you. I'll tell you, I remember, it's one of my friends, O'Neill. We were at home and something had just happened. Within 2 minutes in Yuvukile, she picked up that I was not myself, and she said, "Friend, if you keep going down this path, you're going to lose people. Because your wrath is sky high." And I appreciated that, because this is my sister friend that I can cry with. If there's something bugging me, she's that big shoulder, right? And for a while in my life, it was her, and yeah, I think you have an idea. This other one that I'm talking about was the soul sister of mine, right? Throughout my life, I've never lost that base where I know, but if anything happens, these are my people, these are my buttons. And it doesn't need to be the whole village. You don't need to have 35 doctors to take you in and heal you with surgery. If the universe sends you that one, hold on to that one. And for abanye abantu, it's tragic, but for some people, they will not have anyone on this planet who literally. At a time where everything is falling apart for you, it is that one person that shows up in your dream. And it's that person who holds your hand. You pay 20 years, now, and once you cross over that fence or whatever it is, you know deep down that, okay, Apa, there is no living human being that was my doctor. And that also. And that I'm saying to Abango Moya. The Moya rises because therapy is not going to work for everyone. And speaking to the other side is not going to work for everyone, because not everyone is gifted in that way.
Or even believes.
Yeah. So it's also important how you find your safe space. Not how I know when I'm in a safe space is people that I can cry and I can cry in your presence, even if I'm not conscious of it as I'm doing it, right? As time goes by, it hits you and no, wait. I don't usually open up and be vulnerable this much with just anybody. I'm comfortable with this person. I trust this person enough to cry in their presence. Or the other extreme also happens. with the craziest parts of yourself that you never show other people. You feel free to show these particular people or groups of people because you feel safe. But I can run around this garden naked and you're not going to fire me from your life because I came here one day and did something crazy. Because when we don't feel safe, we don't feel safe at work, we don't feel safe at home, we don't feel safe on the streets, we don't feel safe digitally because they're scammers, we don't feel safe with anything, we don't feel safe with our cars. So our energies are constantly post-traumatic stress disorder.
Running. Survive.
Such that even someone that touches you with kindness, you don't have time. You're like, yes.
You can't recognize.
You're like, hey, so
yeah.
Because now you've gone through, it's a lot, and different types of trauma manifest different types of dysfunctions, let me put it like that, or pathologies, depending on where the trauma came from. So young kids, young girls that are sexually molested and raped later on develop trust issues now, where you're married, this is your partner, but God, no and behold, just cannot trust in God. And it ties back to something that happened to this person when they were 4 or 12 or 18, even older women who've been raped by their husbands. Right? That's how it's going to manifest there for that woman. Or I watched a documentary once, and this one man was worried. He said, listen, every time I try and hug my wife, she automatically does this. Trying to protect herself because her previous partner used to just open the door, so this has become her instinctive response. And even he is husband to this woman who will not talk. Honey, how was your day? When she's had a bad day, it's post-traumatic stress disorder, and she just does this as you understand now that a woman like that could unalive herself because trauma is silencing her, and it means that abantu abe withdrawn.
That's a very important point you just made, that your trauma can alter abantu.
Oh yeah. And if someone who has that type of trauma, you will not, if you're running a company, uzawuthula finance department, micromanaging. Because your mind is going, you know what, I've been broken into, I've been stolen from, I've been played, I've been whatnot, so I want a daily report from everyone, every day, every 5 minutes. Not realizing that, yes, when you're a protector, that you're just being such a pain on everybody else, because everybody else can reach you. Just relax. Why don't you trust us? Like, what reason have I given you not to trust me? I've come in here, my God, my boss is like every 5 minutes. Also, I would check even the access cards. Right? Like, what time did you check in? What time did you...
Oh my God, yeah.
So you see how things like that happen. Next thing, and I will so when you are in the middle of a trauma response, because I'm protecting myself. Don't come tell me about this electric fence here.
And it's in such small, useless habits,
Yeah.
Like, I know the one habit I've got, because my mom died when I was young, so my trauma is I've never felt safe. Like, the world has not been a safe space. And as a result, I will lock the door, drive, leave the gate, drive 5 minutes and be like, I need to go check if I really locked the door.
No, I know what you're yes, I know what you're talking about, because it's that self-parenting thing.
Yeah.
So chances are, even if you left me here, you would do that one day.
Yeah, you're just like, I need to make sure everything is locked up, no one can get into. Yes. Even though you've locked but you're still going back to check with hey, I need to, because this world is not safe.
Because
the world is not safe.
I'm the only one who's got my back right now, so don't, you know, or things where you don't want to give anyone a lift ever. You just won't let people into. I mean, I know with me, for me to say to somebody, Nan's address, yeah?
Yes,
you know, and one friend of mine was like, why are you so, she found a Dodge. She was like, you don't get jealous, mysterious, and whatever. And I'm like, yeah.
The world is not safe.
Yeah. I wanted to go, hey, man, do you know what you're saying to me? Do you know what could, because my mind was already on the 100 things that could go wrong.
Yes.
Like, it's dangerous, Lendo, and this is why.
Yes.
And so, if it means, fire electric fence, glass.
Yes.
Plus barbed wire.
Yeah.
Plus working card on top of that. So it's amazing also to be, I'm like that. Like, I know myself, I am like that. Or wanting to connect with people from a distance. Even physical distance. I don't do well with close physical proximity unless I'm really comfortable with someone. And then I meet people that would just share the couch, share the bed, share the house, share the clothes. Yo, for me that's like, what? Like, can we exchange eyeglasses? No, for me this is my personal space,
And you know what trauma that is related to?
I do know. I do.
Because that's important, né?
Yes.
For a person must be able to identify, okay, this is the trauma I went through and this is how it plays out.
Yes, and I'm the type to go back and laugh about it once I've actually identified it. Like, for me, identifying works chronologically. I always ask, so when did I start becoming this?
Yes.
Going back to what I was saying.
Yes.
6-year-old Thuli is not like this. I was the friendliest kid, right? So when did I start double checking and triple checking and not wanting people in my space? And for me, it's not one single trauma, it's several.
Like many.
It's several over the years.
Everybody's traumatized.
It's several over the years, but I am in tune with myself enough to be able to tell the next person, but Jonah, what can one say? So can you please not trigger this part of me? Because our wounds don't heal simultaneously, and they also don't heal rapidly. There are wounds that can actually sit and simmer and bother you for years and years and years. I mean, the trauma that turned me into this person that just doesn't want a whole lot of people around me and stuff happened with when a family member passed on in a tragic way, and I was like, oh hell, see that? That won't be me. Right? So I know myself that when people then cross that boundary, that's when my comes out. But that is a trauma response. I'm not going to sit here and say, I am encouraging it, it is healthy, this is what we need to do. It is a trauma response, and aware of it.
And what do you think is the difference between then healthy expression and then the trauma response. Like, how do we navigate, do you think? Because once you've identified, you're like, oh, okay, I don't feel safe, or whatever area in your life, you know? We'll talk about relationships earlier on, and how even the importance of saying to your partner, hey man, I've been through this and this and this. That's why when you put your hand here, then Africa.
Yes.
You know?
It's not that I'm rejecting you.
Yes.
But please understand that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so I don't want, so exactly that, how you put it. That's how you deal with it.
Communicating openly and honestly.
Communicate it. Because there's a difference between your hand landed here, that which it where you're like, so as this I didn't. My God, and then you're worried, you're like, did I just break up? What happened? There's a difference between me responding in that unhealthy way and me recognizing it. It might trigger me where I'm like, it's about calming down, and then later on, don't say anything. Later on, find your time, lingo, because the things you say will happen. And you don't want to deal with karma because something happened one day, you're in flip mode, and then
you said bad things to people that are going to come back to you.
Years later, so calm, so bad, and then people come back and tell you, oh, did this happen to so and so? So you don't want to be
karmic dead,
spiritually toxic, or cosmically
toxic,
or manifest isn't, or is better,
yes.
Because you could not bite back. So it's about having enough maturity to bite back and going back and talking about it in a nice way. And if you can't talk about it, write it. Writing has helped me a great deal. There are things that I write that I will never, they are not poems, it's journals. I'll sit and write these things down. But that's my gift, is writing. People write songs, and that's transmutation now that we're talking about. Find a way of releasing it.
Yeah.
If it means you have to channel and be shefane about it and just laugh about it, so mote it be.
But you have to find a way to express it, but not in a toxic way.
Not in a toxic way. So, how I dealt with how I transmuted my anger, you laugh, as I got into martial arts. And it took as let me take out my boxing boots. Let me go be Muhammadia Ali Echi, not peaceful. Yeah.
So you have to have grown up talks with yourself.
Yes. And it's not like I don't know why I'm angry and I'm livid and I'm in that state, but it's about knowing how to now transmute it nicely. So that you don't end up being toxic. Because that same, how hard I used to kick and punch, and I had to do that to people.
You have to be careful how you expel energy from your body and how it impacts the environment and other people. That's hard.
I couldn't have said it better. I create incentives for myself. So in my martial arts days, side effect was my six-pack in my body. So then it makes it less about trauma and all of this. Now, and how I knew it was all out is when I started working out more, it felt more like a dance. Everybody else come for fighting. Right? That's a different energy to when it's like, hey, but it's the same thing. That's how you transmute. Art is helpful. Sit. paint. If you don't paint, go to an art gallery. Take your mind away from that thing and find things that you love, because what you focus on really does increase.
Yeah.
Because trauma will make you forget yourself.
Yeah.
Uvuke ngenye imini ungasazazi uba you are an artist. Funeke sibuze uba, and then utheni wena uzilibele kwi-poet utheni kwenzeka ntoni? Or ibe njim, and I'm suddenly like, nah. I don't drink no more, I don't read nobody no more, I don't do... Because now you've forgotten. Stick to the things that make you feel good, because it makes you feel good. Don't attach to the story. People attach to the story so much. Guys, I mean, you remember what happened when you came across Mkanya Hude, and I said to you, girl, I don't even know what the thing was. Just but which one feels nice on my body, you know?
Yes.
When I wake up in the morning, that's what I do. I do intuitive dressing, where I'm kind of like, let's play a game. Let's see what feels good to wear today. Just by doing that already, whatever nonsense happened earlier in the day, send me because I'm playing the fun game that does up. That's what focusing on the things you like will make you do. It could be cooking for someone else. It could be taking an evening walk, or reading if you so enjoy reading, or going out and having coffee with your friends. And if you like comedy, go, laugh. The more you focus on those things, the less impact. It's your, what do you call it? It's like your landing pad.
It's so interesting. So it's kind of like, we like to exaggerate and overemphasize our pain. So in your 100%, the pain could actually only be 10%.
Yeah.
But because you're sitting inside there, you completely ignore the 90%.
Yeah. Look, I lost someone once. This is actually hilarious. So, loved one passes on. I'm the one. It's 3 months later, and there's no smarty. Comes through in a dream. Happy as ever. and the reason, bundle wouldn't like. Where's the problem? Who has the problem?
It's internal thing.
Yeah. Because the brothers showing up on some island and writing. And Greg, son. Nguwe. When the umbilical cord got cut, and right, you're the one who's still bleeding. That's another way of identifying trauma. Let me go bandage myself. Let me go work on me.
And we hang on to pain.
Yes. A lot of times, now, that's extreme because this is someone who's passed on, but in a lot of instances, the very thing that you are angry at or angry about, I get on top of that, you could be putting emphasis on a space that just doesn't care about you, doesn't think about you, doesn't vibe with you. Actually. Oh, that's oh, after all this when I get up, you are making that person your everyday focus.
You abused me as a child. You abused me as a child.
And
take your power back. they're saying, I'm abuser, that time when I'm 10 years old, that time, that day, whatever, and that day when I'm 16 when this happened.
I mean, some of those people might be watching this episode. Yeah.
So that's why it's your own responsibility to do your own healing.
Do your own healing.
Because your abusers don't give a.
And Sulinde apology because yabana leyo. I don't know how many people have stayed stuck in their pain, waiting for injustice in the form of apology. No. Why are you going to delay your destiny? Apology. Forgive or apologize.
I need the apology, babes.
When on the other end, on the other end,
exactly.
Arrivals terminal, and I departed late.
I was so busy, addiction. I was so busy because I was blame.
Slitting your wrists, you are doing all kinds of because deep down or in your subconscious mind, you are waiting for their apology.
That will never come.
Yeah. Building is not about building the apology. And I hope even us as Africans, we can learn that. And build ourselves and find the tools in whatever way we can.
You mean to khadimela, which means I always have to explain this to people. And I never know how to explain it because it's actually such a beautiful thing. But ukhadimela is to shout and call order, to inyatso.
Reprimand.
Yes. People who undermine you.
Calling out.
Yes, it's reprimanding the underminement.
Yes.
So you just like, actually, really? Yeah. It's fine, there's no abuse, it's okay, but look who's shining now.
Exactly. Because if I asked you, Ntsiki, how many apologies have you never had?
Oh.
Now imagine if Moya did not exist because Papa's with Petty was try depression. You know, I saw
and I saw this. I saw it. Not in this lifetime. So that's why you had to just do your own self-work.
You do your self-work, including shadow work. It's a beautiful process because then you find yourself, the good and the bad, and through all of it, you do the releasing. Without waiting for the person who did it.
And it's nice because you don't even feel anything anymore.
No, you don't.
You really don't. Yeah, you don't traumatize and hey, no mama. Hey, you know, yeah, I know that.
Hello, fake don't.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, like I'm going up
to
Hey!
That's what my grandmother used to say. She used to add a prefix as a code, you are fake. Once that also friend, then there's okay, also friend, uno friend. And life is life. These things are going to happen.
Yes.
There are people around want to lie, there are people who want to betray you, there are people around or find any reason to try and lower your vibration for whatever reason.
Because good and bad coexist.
You might have never noticed. You know, are you going to stop for that? own yourself.
Yeah.
Own yourself. That I can't, put it in any other way.
Because I was even thinking about the shadow side and toxicity. Because sometimes I see, like, on social media when people are telling me that I'm toxic.
You don't know toxicity.
That's what I wanted to know. Wuti.
You don't know toxicity. Because toxic means poisonous.
Yes. Yes.
There are people who today confuse the reprimand nengqeqesho.
Yes.
And calling out.
Yes.
In order to fix.
Yes.
Or the
Yes.
transmutation by fire.
Yes.
And chiefly with the intention of I'm
Yes.
bringing my fire to refine you into gold because
Yes.
you're doing wrong. Yes. That is not toxic, I'm very sorry.
Because I was thinking, because
That is not. Imela ngoku undibona uba ndifuna ukuzihlamba. You chasing me around in a state, in a frenzy, undinqanda, you are stopping me from damaging myself. So don't be judging that you were doing at that time. That is different to toxicity. Toxicity, irrelevant without a cause.
intention.
Yes.
Intention.
Or destination, but you are just
causing hurt for the sake of causing hurt.
aimlessly. That is toxic. And that is toxic because that is in and of itself a trauma response. Somebody could have been raised in a home, peak church, okay? When they meet you and you are this confident, self-assured woman and you are able to reprimand, you are doing maybe what their mother could not do. They're seeing Nana for the first time and they get triggered. Self-awareness means, yazi, when you are triggered, right? And when it is now toxicity landing in your lap. Because nobody's going to trigger you like a healer also.
Yeah. Yeah.
Living daylight out of you. And I mean, see yourself. But I know. But now see yourself.
I know.
Especially because they'll get sent to you. When you least expect it, and then you think, what is this? Again, that's not toxic. But I've come across people who confuse these things because we now attach the word toxic to anything that makes us feel uncomfortable. Something that takes you out of your comfort zone is not toxicity. Somebody that says, stretch your mind, expand the way you think, is not toxic. That is toxic. Because these things are different. Otherwise, it doesn't. We're going to entertain psychopaths and point fingers at the people who are building the nations. Man, it's toxic everywhere. For what? For
aggressive.
Yabona mina akho umuntu ozofika azodinisa athumbe ndizocela ukumbaya. I'm putting that out now. I'm putting it out there now. But people who cannot respect boundaries is old. It's usually the people that are out to exploit you in the first place, but are upset when you say boundaries.
Yes.
So I begin by questioning the intention. Oh, this I come from A to Z. Depends on ABC, or intention. But siyaphinda into. Utheni uzochitha imbiza yam ndipheke? What is the intention?
It's the intention. Toxicity is actually about intention.
Yes.
Where's your heart?
Yes. You are saying, mandingathi, mandilambe nefamily yam, mayilambe. If you constantly come and spill my pots in the pack, that's toxicity. People, we need to know the difference between what's toxic and what is uncomfortable because it's pushing you to grow. On my way here, the driver is a man who said, the only way I found God and my life purpose was by having everything taken away from me. I lost my wife, I lost my house, I lost my car, I was in a space where I had nothing. And in that space, I realized that there's nowhere below rock bottom. The only way to go from now is up. And he said, I found God. I realized that I had worked so hard to manifest money, and it was about entertaining my friends and taking people out on holidays and bragging about where my kids go to school. But for all those years, I was never happy. I have far less money now. I'm a driver, but I'm a peace of mind. And because of what I went through, every single one of my passengers is my student. And I said, oh, now that's a man who's actually transmuted. Yes. That pain, find the lesson, people, find the lesson. Growth is uncomfortable. Ask, what was my lesson here? Sometimes it's not a lesson. It's a wound that you might not even be aware of.
Yeah.
And then you have your experiences and relationships will mirror you. The world will mirror you. I look at some of the people that I attract and have attracted, and I'm like, ooh, whoa. Am I this? Am I all these people? Because at the end of the day, the people you attract
Are you?
are you. Even the spirits that you attract, you will never attract a spirit that you are not in the same vibration.
It's your vibration.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah. Which is funny. Because now people are going to ask, what does this say about people who attract this tea, spiritual entities, this tea. But with that said, we also need to acknowledge that psychic attacks are real. So let's not have people go through those attacks and sit there blaming themselves.
Yes, that too. Yes.
Oh my God,
Yes, my vibration. But it still is your vibration because you can alter your vibration so that.
Oh yeah, it doesn't affect you. Yes.
So it's about hard work, dear, all the time. You can feel that disalignment.
You can transmute it. And be like, I'm done with you in a poma.
And if you negative energy, you're going to be positive energy. I'm turning you into money in my life.
Or you're not going to win. Like, whatever it is, because I think we all have different, what do you call it, methods,
Yes.
Someone else might look and say, devil, I see you, you're not going to win.
Yes.
Someone else is going to be like, oh, I'm about to turn you into an angel.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
But
because I'm going to transform you. Yes. Omnye Umru will say, oh, is that what's happening? Let me go hide. And that's how they deal with it, as long as you deal with it. But we will not attract spirits that are not in your vibration. You will not attract people that are not in your vibration. Even thinking, ooh, that book looks interesting. Chances are the author of it is somebody that matches your vibration.
Exactly.
Or
You attract what you are.
Yeah. Or it's a piece of music that you're hearing in your head. Just know. Just know. But this is where you're going. That's why it's not when you feel depressed. The sad songs feel good. Because depression is addictive.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah. That's why they hang on to the flame.
Yeah. One of the things I've taught myself is to get away from such.
Yeah.
I've become very, very conscious of the type of music that
Yes.
enters my space.
Yes.
One evening I was watching, there's a horror movie with Denzel Washington where some demon travels from person to person.
Oh, yes.
One evening I fell asleep with that thing playing on the TV. The dreams that I had,
No, you do. There's frequencies that you shouldn't engage.
and then I was like, what is going on? I was trying, because I wasn't conscious of what was actually playing in the TV, because I left the lounge, I'm thinking everybody else is watching TV. But I woke up and I was like, what the hell is going on? Why are my dreams this way? Then nonsense is that TV.
Yeah, our spirits compute everything. They take everything in and then they digest it and then they're like, okay, this is the type of energy we're working with here. Then they give you experiences based on that energy.
So what children are watching, all of it has an impact. Because when you're going through trauma, the last thing you need is to still be fed with further chaos. There's a lot of work to do. Yeah. Because if you, and now a thought has just come to me about a child, let's say that you have a child who's 5, in a home where there's no peace. And something happens to the 5-year-old. You know by then that the response they're going to get when they go and report is not going to be a healthy one. So you're looking at someone who's possibly broken. So we also need to conscientize people in the homes, in the workplaces. How many people go through trauma? Somebody jumped off a building, a corporate building once. It was blood incidents. And then that will get you asking, what are we doing about the mental health in South Africa? There's hyper-focus on spirituality and spiritual health right now, but I'm not hearing enough about mental health, the psychological aspect. When we say mind, body, soul, the mind is your psychological aspect.
How you process it. Because it's hard to process trauma. It's not a rational thing. So that'll mess with your mind.
You'll never rationalize ever.
You can't rationalize trauma.
Not ever. And the response is huge. They are huge. They will be totally disproportionate to whatever the triggering incident. And the response is just huge. And as you say, everyone is traumatized in this country. So it really, it's also the culture. I mean, the stuff that we see on social media where now people want to, we run away from our trauma because now sifuna ushado, sifuna imali, sifuna this. Even that's a trauma response.
I know. We're escaping.
It's a form of escapism. Not supposed to by themselves and deal with themselves. Just know they're in a state of trauma somehow. They're running away. It's no different. It's a relationship instead of the bond.
There's a lot of those in South Africa. A lot of relationships are just trauma bonds. And people are afraid to be by themselves.
So I was here last time talking about Instinctive, and this time I'm talking about the other side of things. where things are not working out, and it's not because of anything spiritual, but because we have things that we do prior to healing ourselves, and then we mess up. How do you, I mean, I think it should be part of every family conversation, but I figure out find a city mama mfuyo lobola intombi. Kujongwe how far Londo is. Kwenziwe assessment, whether mama or dada or both parents or the family as a collective, but do we think unyana wethu already? Before it becomes a problem,
But the problem is that usually if a person is traumatized, they're coming from a trauma home. So you find that it's a cycle of,
you know? Which then means families are not looking at themselves.
Yes.
Because if you're going to be defensive about your son over there, I don't think he's ready for healing, he's going to break. Okay? So, let's manage. If you can't do that as a parent, it means when you can't, you're not in a space of looking at yourself. And then as a family.
Yeah.
Okay, then actually, healing. Other than all the ritualistic stuff, because you can do all of those things, all you want. What you feel in yourself, in your body, it gives a biochemical reaction.
Yes.
If you're not feeling good, you're not feeling good. It's your serotonin or whatever in your body that has been twisted by some emotion that you have. That's going to resolve that.
So basically what we said, GOGO Thuli, thank you so much for the lessons. In today's episode, we've talked about the fact that we need to acknowledge our trauma and process it through art or writing or doing things that make us feel good, communicate it in our relationships so that people know what they're dealing with. And then, most importantly, can families go to counseling and therapy? Monge, because everybody is a mess in the family unit at the moment. So thank you so much. Thank you for your time, for your blessings, and your teaching.
Yes.
Moya light, Moya bright. Thank you guys for joining another fantastic episode, and I hope that you are dealing with your trauma so that you do not bleed all over everybody else. See you next time.